This is the fatherhood experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the fatherhood experience. It's time to lead my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The fatherhood experience.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. We're going to try something a little bit new today, and we're going to start trying to do more episodes like this, because the reality is what's going on around us in the world today is thrown in our faces as fathers, and it's our responsibility to lead our children in the best way possible. And so we're going to give our takes on some recent headlines, some recent articles that really revolve around how we lead our children and how we help them become the best versions of themselves. So real quick, before we dive in, obviously, those of you who have followed our mission and journey for a while, we appreciate you. We truly do. And as always, if you get any value out of today's episode, share it with one dad in your life that you know it will help get a little bit better. We are all in this together. The only way we're going to create the culture change that we so desperately need in this country is to raise our standards as men and as fathers, to inspire others to do the same so that we can take our country back one dad at a time. So with all that being said, Zach, it's been a while since you and I have done a episode together. I've had to piece together a couple episodes as we've been on vacation, and you've got new baby girl in your world. So how's life been in Zach's world? I know you're running on fumes, so give us a little baby update, if you will.
Yeah, man, she's going strong. And when I say going strong, I mean the crying and all that shit, tired as hell. She's actually up this morning, typical feeding in the morning, timed it to be around 4 a.m. And she decided not to sleep for about 2.5 hours. And for those of you that don't know or haven't been there yet, right, with the newborn, they're only supposed to be awake for like 30 to 90 minutes max. This girl was up for 2.5 hours because she refused to go to sleep, crying and whining and fussing. She's definitely not like Ace. She's not like my first one, man. And every kid is going to be a little different. They're the same guidelines, same parameters, same like structure and rules, right? But at the same time, they're going to have different temperaments. So she's been a little bit more difficult to deal with. But then again, we were a little spoiled because Ace was actually very easy. He was a chill baby, man. He was very easy. So I think this is actually what's considered normal. I'm just not used to it. So I'm like, oh, come on, dude, go to sleep.
I'm going to give you from one dad to another, from one dad with 2 kids to another dad with 2 kids who's just a few years ahead of you. What you just explained is exactly what we have with Blake and Colin, literally to a T.
Like, I noticed it. Yeah.
Fucking Blake sleeps like a champ. He was kid number 1, goes to bed, is asleep within 5 to 10 minutes. He does his little thing before he goes to bed, and he's out, and he sleeps all through the night. There was never any coming to the bed, and yada, yada. Colin, polar opposite, dude. He's going to turn 3. His birthday is next week. He turns 3, or his party is next weekend. He turns 3 on August 7th, though. Wow. And so we're recording this on July 26th. So we have an almost 3-year-old who, in his entire life so far, I think there's been 3 total times, 1 per year, that he has slept all night in his bed. He comes to bed every single night. Most of our audience knows that I'm living with my mother-in-law right now, so I'll share this. My wife and I have one room in my mother-in-law's, and I think it's like a queen, maybe not even a queen, maybe it's like a full. It's a pretty small bed, not what we're used to.
Y'all
and my boys are across the hall in 2 twin beds, right? And they sleep across, as a room, and then one on one wall, one on the other. So literally for the last, let's call it fucking 8 nights, since vacation, right? So literally since vacation, little homie is coming to the bed around 12, kicked me, screamed, and constantly woke my wife up. And I have gone and taken his bed. So we're just playing musical beds now. He comes to my bed, I go to his, and everybody goes back to sleep. And so I'm hoping that once we get our new home and we're settled, that some of these sleep issues will start to even out. But it sounds like you are going through something very similar what we had with Blake and Colin.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the fatherhood experience, guys. Yeah, and we've tried all the different strategies and all that stuff. And look, a lot of people, they try different things, but they never try it long enough. But we've tried. We had Ace, who would jump into our bed every single night from his own room as well. And for months straight, we would just walk him back multiple times a night. And he would just continue to come back to the point where we're like, okay, look, we're both taking massive L's here for months on end. I'm just going to sleep on the floor in his room. because my wife was pregnant too, by the way, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's not going to serve both of us both of us to lose. I said we could try to sleep train them in this regard a little bit later. Focus on your sleep because you're growing a little baby in you, right? So that's what I was dealing with. I was already dealing with, I mentioned this before, I was already dealing with a long time of sleep deprivation, or at least a lack of consistent good sleep. And as much as we pound the table on sleep, we still understand the importance of it. But the reality is, when you're a dad, depending on the nature of your kid or the temperament of your kid, the mannerisms, behaviors of your kid, it's sometimes not going to work out exactly how you plan.
No.
And we could talk about the whole being flexible thing, but that's a whole nother topic for what we want to talk about here when it comes to parenting. We talked about it a little bit on our coaching call yesterday, but I won't get too sidetracked, man. But the bottom line is this: I'm back in the weeds. I'm back in the trenches with this baby raising shit, and my brain is working at 50% capacity. So I'm showing up because I'm doing what I do. I don't make excuses. I show up. It might not be 100% me. All right.
That's okay.
I might say things that might not make sense.
That's
I might randomly end up speaking a different language I don't even know how to speak.
But I'm here
because this is what we do. We show up and we produce results because I'm not the kind of person that's going to look for an excuse instead.
That's it, dude. That's it. You know, and I'll look. I told you before we started the show, I'm a little under the weather. My wife is sick. My fucking dog is sick. The only two people that are healthy in the family right now are my two boys. I'm going to do leg day today. When we're done with this, I'm going to go rest for a little while, and I'm taking my ass to the gym and doing legs because tonight my family is going to do a meet and greet with our new Catholic school, and we're going to a fucking burger joint. Well, like, I don't eat burgers midweek. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to go do a leg day, burn some shit, and then go top it off with the burger so that I don't feel so guilty about getting off track during the week. And I think that feeling of guilt, though, is it's that personal accountability, dude. And when you have that feeling of guilt, I think that's some of the magic sauce about establishing consistency long term, is when you start to feel that little bit of like, I know I'm not supposed to do this, so I'm going to do better, right? And so, love it, dude. Well, let's dive in. I tell you, I'm excited about this format, and I know you and I talked about it a little bit, doing it as a normal thing moving forward, because again, I think the current events in our world, let's face it, like, most people are on their cell phone way more than they're supposed to be. You know, we're not supposed to scroll our phones for 8 hours a day. One of the most exciting things about my vacation when I went on the beach was being off of social media. I made one post the entire time. And at the end of the week, when you get your Sunday screen report, dude, it said my screen time was down by like 45%. I'm like, fuck, nice. That's pretty awesome, right?
Nice.
So yeah, good shit. So, but I tell our audience that because here's the thing, guys, is, you know, we can try to hide from the truth. We can try to hide from reality. And I think there's a time and a place for that. Zach and I are both very big on blocking out time from social media, consuming positive content, making sure that you're putting the right things into your mind, because what you put in your mind is just as important as what you put into your gut. With that being said, though, without our freedom and without knowing the truth, we're not going to be here doing this podcast. We're not going to be here fighting for the right for our kids to grow up and pursue their American dream, we'll call it, pursue their own greatness, their own, their own most elite version of themselves. Because without freedom, we don't have this show. We don't have the opportunity to be entrepreneurs and have our own company. We don't have the opportunity to lead our kids in a way where they can grow up and accomplish anything they want. The American dream will die without freedom. And so when we talk about current events, it's not necessarily, not necessarily a politically driven topic. It's more about, hey, like, as dads, we got to be aware of that, about this, and let's shed some light on it so that we know how to respond in certain situations. And so we're going to dive right into this. Article number 1. All right, we've pulled up some articles, and you guys can find these links anywhere you guys can find these links if you just Google what I'm going to tell you. So this is an article by MSNBC. This one came out a little while ago. This article was from last year, actually, and I know there's been some reigniting of these type of articles, but I know that probably some of our listeners have heard about this one. This is an MSNBC article. It says, pandemic fitness trends have gone extreme, literally. White supremacists' latest scheme to valorize violence and hypermasculinity has gone digital. Physical fitness and violent hypermasculinity have always been central to the far right. It appears the far right has taken advantage of pandemic at-home fitness trends to expand its decade-plus radicalization of physical mixed martial arts and combat sports spaces. I'm not going to go any further. I do want to read this one. Earlier this month, researchers reported that a network of online fascist fitness chat groups on the encrypted platform Telegram are recruiting and radicalizing young men with neo-Nazi and white supremacist extremist ideologies because they want to fucking work out, dude. So I don't want to go too far off that deep end there, but to bring this back, okay, these the narratives and the agendas that are being pushed here, this is clearly feeding into what we're seeing right now, right? So where do we even go with this, dude? Where do we even, because you and I are going to agree on the standard piece, but like, how do we even begin on breaking down something like this? Because the reality is, these two things are not related. These are not like, you're not, doesn't matter what walk of life you fucking come from. You can go over to the most, the most communist country in the world that has, they don't have any rights and they still fucking exercise, right? There's still people that exercise. You can go to countries in the world that are so far third world country that don't even really have politics, and people still fucking work out because they know they need to get healthy. So how do we even begin to break this shit down? Because it's about as ludicrous as it could possibly be.
I don't know, dude. I don't have words for this. This doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. So if you work out, you're a certain type of way, right? Because we've heard all the things, all these crazy things circulating the internet, right? I've literally heard, and surprise, this is always from the people who are overweight. And look, dude, to preface this, we're not fat shaming anybody. We're not saying that you're a lesser human being and your life is not more as important as ours because you're fat. Okay, we're not saying that. But it's just always a certain look, a certain kind of person that always says a certain kind of thing. And it's always justifying a lack of action or lack of just whatever it is that they know they should be doing in order for them to increase their quality of life. It's incredible to me, dude. Like I've heard it all. And you probably have too, man, because if you've been on the internet and you've ever looked up weight loss or anything of that nature, the algorithm's out for you. You're going to see this shit, right? I've seen overweight fat people say, if you work out to be in shape, you're fat phobic. If
I've
you
seen those videos
out,
too popping up.
Of course, yeah. And of course, and they're almost always
an obese
fat people.
Woman. Yeah.
They're almost always fat people. If you work out because you want to look better, you're fat phobic. I'm like,
I'm okay with that.
I mean,
I'm okay with being fat phobic if that means my standards are higher.
If that's if that's what fat phobic means, and you should read the comments. They always say, I'm a fat phobic as they come, blah, 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 blah. And everybody always says that. So I could understand at least there's a little bit of, I don't want to say logic because it's not. It's stupid, right? It's bullshit and it's an excuse. But when you say if you don't want to look, or if you want to look a certain kind of way that's fat phobic, I wouldn't go that far. I would just say I prefer to look this way. But then they also say things like, if you work out to be healthier, you're fat phobic. Now I'm like, you should be slapped because you don't make any sense whatsoever. When you were talking about the aesthetics, when you were talking about the skin deep surface level, superficial shit, I guess I can understand at least there's a touch of logic there, although it's 99% bullshit excuses and wanting to lower the standard so that it conforms to your lack of responsibility, accountability, and actions. But when you start talking about if you work out to be healthier, you're fat phobic. Now you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You're a fucking idiot if you think that working out to be healthier makes you a fat phobic person. It doesn't make sense whatsoever, dude, because I commented on one of your posts that says real friends don't let friends be unhealthy, right? Real friends will call you out when you're doing shit that is detrimental for your health. And I'm not saying that we got to be on everybody's ass and be like, hey, why aren't you eating boiled meat and steamed vegetables? No, we enjoy the shit out of great food. That's one of the many joys of life that me and you are very much on.
Yeah, we're good at that.
Guys, for any of you guys that are listening that don't believe us, you need to come to one of our retreats. Holy shit.
We out eat all the fat guys.
Our clients will tell us, like, how do you look like that while you guys do all that shit? Well, we got systems in place for that. Don't worry about it. We got systems in place. Don't even trip. But the reality, like the bottom line is this, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how is working out making you a racist? How is working out
far-right
making
extremist,
a political person? Like, if I lift a bench press, all of a sudden, I might have had Democrat beliefs, and all of a sudden I did a bench press, so now I'm a Republican. I used to be a liberal, but I accidentally deadlifted a 5-gallon jug of water because I had good form. No, I'm a fucking conservative. You know what I mean? Like,
it just doesn't
make it make sense. I have nowhere to go with this except it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm gonna go here for a second. I'm just gonna peel back one layer of the onion because I think if we look at the big picture here, I think that most reasonable, logical people, human beings, and I would say, dude, I know we have a lot of really dumb people in this country. I do. And I'm not shoving that aside. I know that. I'm fucking going with the
That's
Allen
true.
Iverson. Did you hear what I just threw in there though? The Allen Iverson practice
Oh
the
yeah,
interview they did
talking
with
about
he goes,
practice.
I'm not shoving that aside. I know that. Anyway,
Oh.
I listen to the Steve Porter remix on that probably a couple times a year because it's fucking awesome. Anyway, shout out to you, Allen Iverson. So if I peel back the onion layer, one layer back, okay, we know as men and any women that listen to this, but as dads, we know that physical fitness and good health is a priority for most of us, right? Even if you've let yourself go, if you're tuning into this show, you want to get a little healthier, you want to get a little bit better. We're a show about health, growth, and personal development. If you're tuned into this and you're fucking you don't want to get better, then you're listening to the wrong show, and that's okay. You stick around long enough, you're going to want to get better. The point of me telling you all this is that I think from a logical standpoint, we know the truth, okay? But when you peel back that layer and you go deeper and you see, okay, well, like there's other areas in life. Like I saw a couple days ago, I saw an obese swimsuit. She's one of the finalists to be on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and she is morbidly obese. So this stuff is being shoved in our face, right? So the obesity acceptance and tolerance culture is being shoved in our face. Well, again, you peel that layer back one layer and you look at what just happened with medications, right? And you start talking about big pharma and you start talking about big food and you start talking about the establishment. It does not benefit our country to have a healthy population. It does not line the pockets of big pharma, the elites, big food, big tech, whatever, for us to be healthy. And so, of course, the more that they feed this to us, the more you're going to get people like you mentioned who are making excuses, and they read a headline like that and they're like, oh, well, that justifies my excuse. I don't want to be a far right extremist, so therefore I'm going to stay fat and stay unhealthy so that I can maintain my status as a proud little liberal or whatever that looks like, right? And so I think that anybody that reads a headline like that knows the truth, but I also think that there's a certain level of psyop that you start to feed that to the people long enough, and just like the fucking masks, right? You still got people wearing masks. Some people are going to believe it. Some people are going to say, you know what? That sounds true. That validates my excuse. I now have my opinion. My mind is made up, and exercise is bad for me because I don't want to be associated with that crowd. It's fucked.
It's bad. It's really bad, dude. Like there's the bottom line is this. People are coming up with excuses and different terms to justify their lack of action so that they don't have to step up and level up to where they know they should be because they want everybody else to go down to their level.
Yep.
And guess what? That makes sense because they're not in a place where they're happy with their body.
Nope.
They feel like shit. They look like shit. They perform like shit, but they don't want to do shit. So instead of raising their standard to elevate to that of the normal general population, they said, well, let's just fucking drag them down to us.
Misery
and that's
loves
exactly what it is that those people are trying to do right now. The people who are saying, like, you need to conform to me. And if I fucking take 2 airplane seats, I should only have to pay for 1 seat only. And they need to accommodate for me. No, this is not the way that it works. We should not be going ass backwards in an age, in a day and age in human history where we have the most modern, advanced medicine, technology,
everything,
education, all the sciences. We have the best of the absolute best that we've ever had, regardless of what your stance is, regardless of what your political beliefs are, regardless of anything. You cannot deny the objective truth that our science is it's at an all-time high.
Yes.
Yet we have a great heavy force, no pun intended, of people that want to bring us back down. It doesn't make sense. As a society, we should always be striving to be better, right? When we have children, we're just trying to create these humans, little humans, to fit into our mold, to be better than us, stronger than us, more successful than us in every way, shape, and form, earlier than us. What the fuck is with this dead weight piece of society, this bottom barrel, bottom shelf human beings, this 1% that's shouting so fucking loud that they're getting the attention of the media and socials and all that shit like that? It's ridiculous, right? The saying that goes, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. It is so damn true. But the only reason why these guys get any time of day is because we allow them to do so. And it's
now
ridiculous.
We're propping them up as the heroes.
Poisoning everybody else. Yeah. But it's poisoning everybody else, right? Yep. The analogy I like to always use, because it's whoever you surround yourself with, you're inevitably going to become like that person, right? Yep. If you're a quote unquote better person in whatever regard than somebody else, and you hang out with somebody who's not, it's only a matter of when, not if, you start to decrease your standards as well, because you are going to start getting like equalized with them. Analogy I always like to use, I tell people, because they think, oh no, it's never gonna happen to me, I'm so strong, I'm mentally disciplined, blah blah blah. No, okay, then if I put a drop of poison in a glass of water, are you gonna drink it? No. Why not? It's just one drop, dude. There's like fucking 16 ounces of water in here. I'm only putting like not even a milliliter. What the fuck? Just put me in a bitch. Just drink it. No, that's poison. That's what the fuck these bottom 1% of people are. They are the poison in that cup that need to be completely filtered out and removed. Now, I'm not going extreme. That's not, you know, I don't mean what you think I mean here, but they need to be shut the fuck up, because they are doing the opposite of what we as humans are trying to do, which is to be better, sooner, advance, get technologically advanced. Like, why are we talking about like fucking men beating up on women in sports because they decided one day that they wanted to change their gender? That's not what this is about. What the fuck? We have better, like bigger problems in this world, like treating our military, our veterans better, getting them post-war care that they need. And I'm not even speaking out of my ass. I'm not a veteran myself, but I've spoken with so damn many of them. And I'm sure you have too, Jason, because we got a lot of them that come to us for help. Our veterans, our military is not treated nearly as well as some of you guys might think. It might be okay because a lot of the military people are very, very young, so their standards are a lot lower as to what a real quality of life is. But by the time they get out of there, they're like, holy shit, I'm not getting the care that I need. And a lot of them end up in really, really bad spots.
Homeless.
How about the homeless issue? How about
the amount of veterans that are homeless in this country? Well, meanwhile, while we're sending billions of dollars over to a fucking proxy war, I'm not going to go down that road.
Doesn't make sense. No, I know, but my point, I don't want to get there either, dude. But my point is this. We're focusing on the wrong things. We have a culture problem when we're focusing on all that nonsense, all that make-believe, all that delusion, and all that lowering of our standards as a country. We shouldn't be talking about that. That should not be the narrative, and it's just complete bullshit. It's like propaganda. It's like, you know, those magazines that say how those headlines that are straight wrong. That's what it feels like. It feels like that. There's no way this is real. There's no way this is real.
It's not.
Until all of a sudden you see them talking in the Senate about it. What
Here's
the hell?
Here's the thing. You are not, we as men are not going to make a difference in our culture unless we lead the charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Step number one is logging off your fucking cell phone and stop reading all these bullshit headlines. You know they're not true. You know they're propaganda. You know there's a narrative and agenda being pushed, and you know it's all by design. This is how you demoralize a country, when you continuously feed them this shit. The fact that we're the only the second country in the world that's allowed to run continuous ads for pharmaceuticals blows my mind. I just found that out last year, that we're the only, us in New Zealand are the only ones that are able to do that. Every fucking ad is a drug or alcohol, dude. There is no other ads out there. And when you constantly are pounded with that shit, the mental health medications, the COVID backups, the fucking, all the shit you see, the antidepressants. Oh, you're feeling a little down? Well, here, we got this medication for you. That's pumped into programming for people that consume the news to an extent of brainwashing them, all right? If you're a guy that comes home every night and watches the fucking news and scrolls your phone, dude, eventually your brain is going to break a little bit and you're going to start to fucking fold, because it's constant. It's a fucking psyop, dude. So get off your phone, stop believing the bullshit, and make yourself a priority so that you can lead your family by example. Now, let's move on to article number 2. We got a little spicy on that one. Article number 2. Yeah. And I did a reel about this today, and I'm excited to see, or I'm excited to put the reel out there because I know it's not going to get very many views. So this one's amazing, dude. So the article itself, I think I showed you. No, fuck, there we go with that.
I can't see it. You got your fatherhood background up in there.
Anyway, the headline is a picture of donuts at the top, and they spell out fat. So it's an F donut, an A donut, and a T. And they got this pink glaze with sprinkles all over it. And the article headline is, And this is by, let's see, this is by The Guardian. Okay. Obesity. What if we let our kids eat what they want? A radical new take on the weight debate. Modern parenting is preoccupied by the idea of perfection, and that includes weight. Virginia Soul-Smith, author of brave and radical new book, talks to Rebecca Seal about why our worth shouldn't be measured by size. What do you got on this one, Zach?
Gosh, dude. I think what they're doing is instilling a false sense of confidence in our next generation. It reminds me of American Idol, where they used to highlight those people who were like, you're always really, really good or really, really bad, right? And the people that were really, really bad had a certain level of delusion where they just would not accept the opinion of people who are literally experts and the best in the world at it, right? All because they were born and raised in a family where everybody just fed them fluffy little lies instead of giving them the harsh truth. And it doesn't even have to be the harsh truth. It could just have been a nice truth. But the reality is they just lied to them. So whenever they were terrible, they would be like, that was absolute dog shit, dude. And they're like, no, nuh-uh. My mom said I was good. Nuh-uh. My daddy said I was the best. Auntie Rebecca said that I sound like an angel. This is what this is about. It's not that your worth is measured by your size per se, but I'm also going to say that if you are somebody who looks completely overweight, completely like sloppy, you don't have your shit together, you can't even walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing, you can't keep up with the productivity of your coworkers in your space, you're not working nearly as effectively as you could be in your business because of the lack of energy, the lack of focus, the lack of everything, you're having brain fog all day, every day because you have sleep apnea that was caused by your obesity, then what? And then let's compare it to somebody who's very physically fit, who has high libido, who looks very attractive to his wife, who his kids look up to as a superhero. As whenever he walks in at PTA meetings or whatever it is, everyone's like, holy shit, look at that dad. He looks like he has the body without having kids because he looks for results, not excuses. Let's compare those two for a minute, all right? So here's the deal. Like I said earlier, their lives are both equally important, but you cannot say that they're equals.
Nope.
There's no way in hell. So what I have to say about that is fuck that article, because that is kind of taken away what I just told you and trying to make them feel like they are equals. But guess what? Their lives are equally valuable, but they are not fucking equals because one of them put in blood, sweat, and tears to become a better human being, and the other one only fucking ate and wants to decrease the standards of everybody else because they don't want
a bigger human being. Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. So let me repeat that one last time. Their lives are equally important, but by no means whatsoever are they equal in any way, shape, or literal form. So that's what I think about that, man. When you're instilling into these kids a false sense of confidence and the whole body acceptance for something that is completely in their control and in their power, and in this regard, it's obviously weight, you are setting your kid up for a shitty childhood.
You don't deserve kids.
I know. You know how many people I talk to? I'm saying that like as if you haven't either. I get bullied as kids because of their weight.
Yep.
And I had another friend of mine. I talked about her before. How she went 30 years or something like that, being overweight because the doctor's like, yeah, she'll burn off. It's just baby fat. And she thought it was baby fat until she was 34, 33, whatever it is. It's ridiculous, dude. That's what happens when you lie to your children and you say your worth isn't measured by your weight. Just go ahead and keep eating.
You don't deserve kids.
It's okay.
You're not leading your kids.
It's messed up, dude. No. It's messed up. It's messed up, man.
You know, I know that everybody has kids for different reasons, and I understand that. I think we reached a point in society where where people are having children to almost make a mockery
on accident.
Yeah.
On accident. That's another problem, but we won't get into that. Go ahead.
But I honestly think people are, some of these families that have kids to then make an example out of their kid, like the some of the 8-year-old, and I didn't want to go here, but the 8-year-old cutting the penis thing off, the gender affirming kind of the gender surgeries, right? If my kid comes to me and tells me that I need to let him eat whatever he wants to eat, and I say, okay, well, like, I'm just going to accept my kid for who he is. Well, like, then the next day he comes in and says, hey, Dad, I think I want to be a pirate when I grow up. And I then take him straight to surgery. We have eye removal surgery, give him an eye patch and cut off his leg so that we can give him an actual wooden leg, not a prosthetic leg, so that he can be a pirate. because I'm accepting my kid. All right. You don't deserve parents. I'm sorry. You don't deserve children as a parent if this is your mentality. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you're not comparing apples to apples if they hear that statement. I am. You're giving your children the autonomy to make their own choices at an age where they need you to guide them in the right direction to make the right choices, right? Like my son comes into the kitchen and says, hey, Dad, can you cut me up an apple? And then he goes and fucking grabs a butcher knife and he says, never mind, I'm going to do it myself. And I'm going to watch him lop off his finger while he's cutting up the apple. Like, that's not okay.
True fucking story. My cousin cut off the tip of his finger when he was like 4 years old. So
there you go. That's not okay, right?
It's
and
not
so
okay.
The reality of this is if you are a parent, especially a dad who is not leading by example, right? And you might not be, and I'll tell you for our audience, if you're in a place right now where you're looking to get better, right? Maybe you're not in your best shape. Maybe you're, you tune into us for some inspiration and some strategy on how to lose weight and get healthier, right? You're here to get better. And even though you might not be truly feeling like you're leading by example to your fullest capacity right now, you're working on becoming a better you. So you know damn good and well, deep down inside, that you should not let your kids eat whatever the hell they want. You do not let your kids eat Lucky Charms for breakfast every fucking morning. You do not let your kids eat a bunch of ice cream before they go to bed every night. If that's you, you're going to pay a price with obesity in your children. That's just the facts. That's what's going to happen if you have a lackadaisical approach like that. And so kids having autonomy to make their own choices is good in certain situations, but they still need guidance from fathers and mothers. That's the bottom line. And so when my kid comes to me and says, Dad, I'm going to eat whatever I want, and you don't have a thing to say about it, and I just say, okay, cool, go get some candy. What am I doing as a dad? Like, I'm not being a dad. So therefore, you don't deserve your kids if that's the way you're trying to, quote unquote, parent, because that's the opposite of parenting.
You're right. You're right. Our job is to give them that autonomy, empower them, but teach them and keep them within certain parameters. That's also going to keep their head on straight and keep them safe. It's literally as simple as that. When you're letting them literally free roam the world as if they were a 25-year-old adult who graduated college and has a wife and kids on their own, as if they know what the hell they're talking about, you're not doing your job as a parent. If you automatically believe the first thing that your kid says when they say it, you are not doing your job as a parent. We talked about this before, right? Dude, I rode a pink bike because I didn't have one when I was a kid when I was 8 years old. So I rode my cousin's because it was right there on the side of the house. That didn't make me a girl. You know what I mean? Like you said,
my son played with Barbies when he was 6.
Yeah.
He wanted a little Barbie kit. My fucking wife bought it for him, and it was out of his system in a week.
Yes, and I play with little playhouses too that my sister had because I would use trucks and pretend to jump over it, but like, oh, little people hanging out in the house.
You're a curious kid, dude.
It's all it is, dude. Literally, when you're growing up and you're just a child, everything is a novel, like it's a novel experience. Everything is brand new. You don't know what the fuck you're doing in this world. You're literally just playing. People don't realize that when your brain is so underdeveloped because you're so new to this world, that 100% of what it is that you're doing is fun, playful exploration. That's all it is. None of it is conviction and dedication and commitment. None of it is that. It's just exploring and testing and having fun and seeing what I like here and there. But there's nothing to it. There's no underlying component of it besides like, hey, that's more fun than this. That's literally all it simply is. But when you're not doing your job and guiding them in a way where you're helping build them up the way that they should be in every department of their life, what are you doing? Like you said, people are so quick to just jump to like, oh, yes, he's this. So perfect. I get to capitalize on that. I'm exploiting this. I'm going to look like this kind of person. Quit making it about you. Make it about them. That's what being a parent's about. It's about making it about your children, man. Not about you. Don't play that card. If you play that card, you should be slapped.
Well, and I'll stamp this story with this. Is it shows a picture of the author of this article, and she wrote a book, and she got a lot of backlash on the book, obviously, because people like us, parents who actually have standards in their lives.
You mean normal people?
Normal people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We're not even exceptional. We're not elite. We're not incredible. We're not royalty. We're not better than they are. We're just
men with standards. We're men with standards.
Yeah, exactly. We're just normal dudes.
So there's a picture of her standing in front of her bookcase. And she says, the quote is, "We can reject the premise that our worth as parents or as people should be measured by our weight." Virginia Soul Smith. So she is morbidly obese. and I'm not judging her. However, writing a book like this and an article like this, again, is simply justifying her own lack of desire to put in the hard work to be healthier and feel better, because there's no way that the woman that I'm looking at in this picture can possibly feel good when she wakes up every day. And so you're essentially justifying, just like we said before, your own behaviors, right? You're justifying your own desire to have low standards and shoving that on future generations, saying that I've accepted myself as who I am and I don't want to get better. And so I'm going to pass that same mentality on to my kids. And again, that's not parenting. So I know that I have a third article, but I want to give you the opportunity here because you talked about an article last night on our coaching call that I think would be relevant to this conversation when it comes to parenting. And you brought up something, I don't know if you have the headline, but it was something along the lines of the time blindness, something like that.
Oh, gosh.
You know, mine, I'll read you my my headline and we won't break it down because the headline itself is just comical.
All right, you read yours, I'll read mine, and you read yours, I'll read mine, and then let's give our final thoughts and wrap this bullshit up, dude.
No, I'm only going to read my headline. Man. I want to talk a minute about yours. Okay. My headline is Rise in Heart Disease May Be Explained by Extreme Weather Conditions. Study.
Oh, shit.
Climate change is what fucked up Bronny James, dude. Bronny James had a heart attack on the court in practice inside because it's so hot outside. All right. So I just want you guys to all know that climate change is the reason we're seeing this massive uptick in cardiac events in our youth. This is just the facts. Okay. So I'm going to move on from that satire and we're going to go right into yours and talk about time blindness. Let's break this down, dude. What the fuck is time blindness?
So time blindness is what idiots say when they're always late. Going back to what I was saying yet again, it's a new term coined by, I guess, people who are consistently late, chronically late, people who are irresponsible, lack accountability and enough responsibility to make appointments on time, to show up to work on time, to make meetings on time, and to show up when they need to show up to whatever it is on time. These people claim that they have just an innate inability to show up on time. It makes absolutely no sense to me, and it makes me fucking furious that they have coined a new term to dumb down the standards yet again. It is the bottom 1% of human beings trying to justify a lack of responsibility and accountability again. So we got people that trying to drag society down in the obese, side of things, and now we have people trying to justify why being late is okay because they're calling it a condition now, and that is ridiculous, dude. So if you're time blind, like if I say, hey, today. I showed up to our meeting a little bit late, right? I let you know, but let's pretend I never did. And I'm like, hey, my bad, Jason. I'm time blind. And what I hate about that, what I hate about it the most is there are people in the comments who are trying to justify, that's a thing. Because, there's something called confirmation bias. Whenever people find something that confirms what it is that they want to believe internally, they are automatically going to believe it, whether it's true or false.
That's why these headlines work, though, dude, because there are literally millions of losers out there in our country who leech right onto this. Like they're like, oh, that's the article I've been looking for. Now I have my confirmation bias.
I knew there was something up with me.
Wrong with
listen,
me.
Guys,
it's time blindness.
There is no clinical diagnosis, dude. There's no, you cannot be clinically diagnosed with time blindness. Yes, it's ridiculous. And then there are some people who are like, yeah. They don't understand. It's like ADHD. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. So we're going to hijack the time blindness, quote unquote, movement, just like the overweight people hijack the body positivity movement, right? Here we go. It's already starting to get bastardized. And this quote unquote movement, this new term has not even been alive for 12 hours. And we got ADHD people going over there. And look, the most funny thing is I need to see psychologists because I have damn near every symptom of ADHD. I just haven't got a professional diagnosis because the reality is whether I have it or not, it's not going to determine whether I'm going to win or whether I'm going to lose. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to be fluid. I'm going to do whatever I need to do in order for me to level up and increase my standards because my kid needs to see that I'm doing that so he can believe that he can too. So I don't give a damn what it is, but you know why I'm going to get that diagnosis from a psychologist, and whether I am or whether I'm not, at least I'll know, right? But the reason I'm going to check is because I can shove it down everybody's throat who are bitching and whining about having it. Oh, I'm not where I am because of time blindness, ADHD. Shut up, fool. You're irresponsible and you lack accountability. There are many, many tools out there that will help us do the things we need to do in a timely manner, such as, hey, surprise, surprise. Our phone has it's called alarms.
You have to want to get better, dude.
With reminders. What, like, is this a foreign thing, or did I like reinvent the wheel, or is this like something new, Jason, or what's going on?
I don't know. We've been in business together now for 3 years, and I'm pretty sure we've used them the entire time. And I think that what we, here, I want to touch on this because this would hit home for me yesterday, and I really didn't share it. I shouldn't say really didn't share it. I didn't share it with our guys because I was in such a heated moment, dude, that we had the call was going well. And I was like, I don't want to break our momentum here, because it was about momentum, right? Didn't want to break our momentum to share this story. So I'll share it now. Yeah, dude. So basically, I was one of the fastest kids on my soccer team growing up. All right. And I actually was late to pretty much all practices. And
hold on. First of all, slow down, dude. You can't be fast. That's slow phobic.
Well, so here's the funny thing. I go one step further here. Okay. My coach nicknamed me Slow Motion. Okay. So at 13 years old, I'm one of the fastest kids on the team, probably the fastest or second fastest. And now my nickname has become Slow Motion. And this rode with me all through high school. I was known as Slow Motion. I can go fucking race you and beat your ass on the field, but I wasn't going to be to practice on time because I was slow motion. I was always the last one. I was the procrastinator, dude. I was that guy. And so as I started to become a man and started to realize, holy shit, that's a really bad habit to be in. And it's a big ass sign of disrespect when I'm not on time to somebody's fucking meeting. I got to fix this shit. I held myself accountable and I started working on it. I started to become more punctual so that I could look like the leader that I am in my family, because I also don't want my fucking kids seeing that behavior, right? I don't want them absorbing that behavior, because whatever you're doing as a dad is going to get passed on to your kid. So if I'm slow motion my whole life and Jason's just always late, well, then what is my kid going to think? Well, my dad's always late. It's cool for me to be late, right? Fucked. So this was fun, dude. Any closing thoughts? I love this. I'm excited.
I was at 50% brain capacity, but after firing me up like that, my brain has now blood flow in it, and now I'm working like that. And because of the blood flow in my body, now I'm awake too. So
hell yeah. Well, good, dude. I'm excited for this format moving forward. If you guys got value out of today, do us a favor. Drop us a comment. Go and leave us a review and give us some feedback on this episode. We want to know if you guys like this type of format, because if you do, we're going to continue to bring these back. We loved it. We hope that you got a lot of value out of today. Get out there, make moves this week, go crush it, get better, and we'll see you in our next episode. Take care, guys.